Today we're driving the newly refreshed Volvo XC90. This is technically a 2025.5 model year. They should have just called it a 2026, but here we are. We are in an Ultra trim. The trim lines are Core, Plus, and Ultra, and you can also get this in a plug-in hybrid. This is the mild hybrid, the 48-volt mild hybrid system with the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, the B6 powertrain. It makes 295 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. We have a couple options on this XC90, a Bowers & Wilkins sound system, the active air suspension. Starting price on this is about $70,000. As tested, this is a little over 77 grand. The core trim costs about $60,000 without any options. The Plus is around 65 grand, and it goes up from there with this Ultra. The plug-in hybrid variant is about 10 grand more expensive with each respective trim. Let's start this up, walk you guys around it, talk about some of the new features here, and show you around the new style. Then we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some driving impressions. We still have our engine start-stop button switch right here, which I like, a crystal shifter, and because this is a mild hybrid, there's no starter noise. It just starts out right up, and that 2-liter 4-cylinder just rises to the occasion. We get a fully digital gauge cluster with a native Android system, so we have Google Maps as our native navigation. We can have that in the screen or completely get rid of it just by pressing this button. We get pilot assist, adaptive cruise control, lane centering, nice controls here for our turn signals, our wipers, a slightly larger screen for this year. We get wired Apple CarPlay. We'll show you guys that a little bit later, but a pretty nice screen with a little bit better responsiveness for this 2025.5 model year. Of course, you can get all of your different apps here in the Google Play Store. This is a very simplified infotainment system. They keep changing the software and the UI just about every couple of years, but immediately this is very easy to use and operate. It's pretty intuitive to find all of your settings and everything that you need in this. Still, I am very surprised that a company like Volvo with such a high focus on safety has gone to pretty much exclusive screen controls for all of their vehicle settings, climate control, stuff like that. It would be nice to be able to change climate control temperature without having to open up this smaller menu. Same with heated steering wheel and heated seats, but it works. The auto climate control here works well. You can choose from a number of different auto fan speeds, as well as the direction, recirculation, etc. We have 2 drive modes in this, so we can do either standard or off-road. Off-road will raise the suspension quite a bit. We'll show you guys that later on. You can also customize your steering feel and suspension feel between soft and firm. And we have this air suspension control set to lower for easy entry and exit, which is very nice. This thing looks slammed when you park it in a parking space. We have 22-inch wheels. This is painted in denim blue metallic, which is a fantastic blue on this XC90. Reminds me a lot of my parents' Volvo S80's color. We have a new grille, slightly different Thor's hammer headlight design. These are optional 22-inch wheels. Honestly, if it were my money, I wouldn't swing for them. They're pretty skinny sidewalls, and you can see they've already been curbed and roughed up a little bit. What do we have for tire size? 275, 35 R22s. Big tires. Ever since this platform came out in 2015, 2016, I thought that this new XC90 is just one of the best looking SUVs on the road. And I guess Volvo really isn't changing that too much. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's great that they've been able to implement electrified, plug-in hybrid powertrains into this and kept it modern and fresh throughout all these years. It's almost, looked like this has been the same shape for about a decade now. The interiors are beautiful. I love the cloth seats in this XC90. We get this beautiful leather on the dashboard, nice cloth inlays here, white open pore wood. The interior is called Navy Herringbone. Looks proper. Very comfortable seats too. The Bowers & Wilkins sound system is fantastic. One of the best sound systems in any car at any price. This is set up to be a 7-seater, so we get access to the 3rd row by pulling this lever. All these seats are manually operated. The 3rd row is comfortable enough for kids, maybe smaller adults. I'm 5'10", and I'm a little bit cramped back here. Not a lot of headspace, not a lot of knee room, but in a pinch, it is usable. Little storage cubby there, vents, and underfloor vents in the second row too, to heat and cool your feet. There we go. In the second row, we get plenty of room to sit back here. Behind my driving position at 5'10", I have lots of room and a bit of stadium seating here too. I can see over those front seats. In this Ultra trim, we get window shades. Do we have heated seats? We do. Heated rear seats, very nice. Climate controls, and some seat back map mesh. Let's check out the back. Tailgate opens pretty quickly, and look at the amount of space we get behind the third row. That's not bad. Only complaint about these third row seats is that once they are down, they're really hard to bring back up from back here. You pretty much have to crawl into the back of this XC90 to bring them up because there aren't any straps or anything. Some good packaging back here. We have a couple of grocery bag hooks, a 12-volt, 120-watt outlet, buttons to lower the air suspension to get better access and load height. We also get a compact spare tire with a jack and tire iron and a tow hook. Look at that. There's even a little thing here to remove the lug nut covers. Very nice. And with that third row folded down, plenty of cargo space in the back of this XC90. Let's pop the hood, take a look at the engine. Fuel economy here is actually pretty impressive with this V6 powertrain. It's rated for 20 miles to the gallon in the city, 26 on the highway, and again, about 300 horsepower out of this 2-liter turbo mild hybrid. You can actually see the turbo right there. Not much to look at in here. Hood goes super high. The 4-cylinder in this does seem a little bit smoother, a little bit quieter, more refined in this refreshed XC90. Let's plug our phone in, connect CarPlay. Bit odd that you don't get wireless CarPlay in your $77,000 fully loaded XC90, but that's okay. You can always go on Amazon and pick up a $30 wireless connector. All right, connectivity here seems to work pretty well. Touchscreen is responsive. You've got all of your apps. Nice that they still offer CarPlay. Reverse cameras, a little bit more clear. Still pretty distorted, but I like that they show you a really wide view. 360 camera on top looks nice. You can see a forward-facing camera right here, reverse camera. It's still a little bit strange how sometimes they don't always show you all the cameras you want to see at the same time. It would be nice if when you switch to the forward-facing camera, it wasn't just a 360 camera, it was a 360 and forward-facing camera. All right, while we're still parked here, let's go into off-road mode and show you what this XC90 looks like completely lifted up on its air suspension. A lot of fender gap, a lot of ground clearance. I'm not sure you'd want to do much off-roading on these 22-inch wheels, but that's very respectable ground clearance and a pretty flat underbody. All right, back into standard mode. I think we're pretty much just ready to go here. CarPlay is still connected. We've got a couple cup holders and water bottle holders right here. Nice place to put your phone at the end. Look at that. Oh, I just leave it hidden away in there. Wireless charging, volume and track controls, front and rear defrost, hazard lights, and then a button right here to open up your glove box. Materials all feel very nice, very premium, especially the Bowers & Wilkins speaker grills. It's nice to have leather on the dash. We get a head-up display. Gauges, screens are all nice and bright, easy to see. Vents are easy to turn on and off, and aim and direct. You got a button here to open the tailgate. I would still like some physical climate controls, but again, auto climate control, auto fan speed, it gets the job done. We've got a great big panoramic sunroof right there. It slides via touch. So you just swipe and it'll open. Swipe again, it'll close. Interior lights are also touch activated. Controls are all pretty intuitive. All right, let's go for a drive. Steering is super light at lower speeds, though it feels a little bit more weighted than it has in previous years. The turn signal click is very satisfying in these new Volvos. Kind of similar to BMW's new turn signals. A short throw stock. Drivability, throttle tuning, brake programming, all the calibration here feels just about right. It's an easy car to drive, it's comfortable, it rides well. There's maybe a little bit of NVH over bumps with these 22-inch wheels, but overall a minor complaint. Not a ton of power here. If you want the more powerful XC90, you're gonna have to go for the plug-in hybrid T8 powertrain. Still, this 8-speed is responsive, it shifts quickly. It holds gears nicely, utilizing the torque from this 2-liter turbo. There is a little bit of e-assist here as well. Good steering for an SUV. This is definitely one of the nicer SUVs to drive in this class. Adaptive cruise control is very intuitive, easy to use with these buttons. You can switch between pilot and assist and just adaptive cruise following distance settings right here. You can very easily change those following distance settings with these buttons on the steering wheel. I have good visibility all around, especially out of the rear view mirror. Oh, and you can go in and fold down those headrests. Let's see here. Where is that setting? Somewhere in here. There it is. For even better rearward visibility. That is a cool old GMC camper. Wow. Nice. It's a pleasant driving experience behind the wheel of the XC90. This thing isn't too big. All your touch points are fantastic. I just like the way this SUV carries itself going down the road. Volvo's made lots of little changes, little refinements to this platform over the years, and it's really turned into a nice driving experience. It still feels very fresh, very modern, and very cohesive of a package here in 2025. Even though I don't think it's perfect, this is the best iteration of this infotainment tablet screen that I've seen in the XC90. There is a manual shifting mode. You change gears manually with the shifter right here. Left is downshift, right is upshift. Pull back again to go back into drive. Maximum towing capacity here is 5,000 pounds, though with this power level, I think you would probably struggle a little bit getting close to that weight limit. You'd probably want the plug-in hybrid if you're going to be towing with your XC90. Stop start is completely seamless with this 48-volt mild hybrid. Engine turning off there. Off the brake. Pretty rough section of road here, and NVH is actually better than I was expecting. Getting a lot of rain right now. Brakes feel good too. Nice bite, easy to modulate and bring down from speed to a limo stop. Initial throttle tip-in can be a little bit aggressive sometimes. I wouldn't mind somewhat of like an eco mode or something to just kind of dull that throttle response slightly. I feel like I'm accelerating more than I would want to for my throttle input. All right, let's see how this does around a couple of corners. Hard on the brakes, turning in, pavement's still mostly dry. Again, steering here is just excellent for an SUV. Perfect weighting, a little bit of feel and feedback. I'm sure some of that is from these 22-inch wheels with 275 wide tires. Handling feels balanced. It's easy to place around a corner. Not too wallowy. I mean, overall, really good driving dynamics here from Volvo. They have continued to improve and refine this chassis, and it's just in a really good place right now for this 2025.5 refresh. There are a couple pilot assist customizations you can do in the settings. You can have it default to steering assist when you turn the system on, or whatever you have it previously set to. Very easy to make that change though, just hit that right button. Volvo had gotten rid of that for a little bit of time and they brought it back, which is fantastic. Decent fuel range here too. At a little under 3/4 of a tank, we're seeing 290 miles of estimated driving range. Yesterday I didn't have any issues averaging 23, 24 miles to the gallon in mixed driving, running some errands. Of course, if you get the plug-in hybrid, you can pretty much drive that as an EV exclusively if you have enough charge and you're not driving very far. Pilot Assist doing a really nice job here, keeping us centered, not prompting us to put our hands on the wheel, even though my hand is already on the wheel. Let's kick it up to 80, past this semi-truck. No lane change assist or anything like that. The system just turns off when you change lanes and then resumes as soon as you're centered back in the next lane. Also, we talk about this in every Volvo video. The seats here are absolutely fantastic. Some of the most comfortable seats in any car. They look gorgeous. I love the cloth. There's your little Swedish flag right here. I would easily put a ton of miles on one of these things. Very comfortable road trips. Oh, prompting me there to hold the steering wheel. You can get XC90s from 2016 to 2019 for somewhere in the teens, 10 to 20 grand easily, depending on mileage. Volvo also has a pretty decent CPO program on these cars. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our thoughts on the 2025.5 Volvo XC90. A legitimately nice SUV to drive. I would probably own one of these someday. One con that I can think of is residual values on these aren't the best. They do depreciate pretty quickly. Not as much of a problem if you're leasing, but if you're buying to own, expect this to be worth 10 to 15 grand someday, which is a pretty steep depreciation curve. Not too different from a lot of luxury SUVs in this class, but just something to be aware of. The rest of this car is fantastic. I really like the way it drives. The engine is a little bit quieter, more refined for this 25.5 model year. The Bowers & Wilkins is still fantastic, one of the best in class. And the infotainment just feels a little bit better finished than it has in the past. This wouldn't be a deal breaker for me anymore. I think there's always improvements that could be made. I wouldn't mind a few more physical climate controls, but ultimately it works. It's simple. You'll get familiar with it. Who knows if the system is going to be buggy or not, but so far this week it's worked pretty well. It would be nice to have wireless CarPlay. That's a bit of an omission. I love these cloth seats. I love the packaging here. I love the way it looks. Overall, top marks for the new Volvo XC90. We'll put it into park, turn it off, and it should lower to access height here, and we'll show you guys what that looks like. Such a good looking SUV, and a lot of ride height change here with the air suspension too. CarPlay connects quickly upon startup. Of course, it's already plugged in, nothing changed. Let's wrap up with a quick sound system test. This is easily one of the most recommendable upgrades for the XC90. If you listen to music, the Bowers & Wilkins is worth it. It just sounds fantastic. All right, that's going to wrap up our review. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.